10 early signs that a relationship won't last. When you're in the beginning stages of a brand new relationship, it's easy to get swept up in how amazing everything feels. After all, it's not called the honeymoon phase for nothing. But if your goal is long-term love, it's important to be able to view your new partner without rose-colored glasses and be aware of the early signs of relationship that will not last. Yes, relationships tend to get stronger and deeper over time, and a slightly rocky beginning doesn't necessarily spell doom for the relationship. That being said, it's unwise to sweep red flags under the rug, because often, the beginning of a relationship reveals a lot about how things will play out in the long run. It's not the best idea to be constantly searching for warning signs in every relationship. If you're always looking for trouble, nothing is ever going to actually work out. Still, once you've been dating long enough, it starts to get easier to notice the tiny flags that typically mean a relationship just isn't built to last. Some people always say that they would do anything for the ones they love, but when it really matters the most, they are the first ones who easily give up the fight. It's so easy to make such promises to your romantic partner, especially when the times are great. But what would happen if you find your relationship facing the most challenging obstacles in your relationship? Can you survive the test of true and genuine love? Or are you just one of the many who don't have the courage and the patience to deserve a happy and long-lasting relationship? This video will help you answer these questions. 1. You try to hide everything from your partner. Since the very beginning, the best relationships are built on honesty and openness, not on lies and deceit. Some people in a relationship think that carefully choosing their words in order to manipulate the truth can prevent arguments and unnecessary fights. While it might sound noble, you're not actually protecting your partner's feelings. You're just too scared that your partner will see who you truly are. You have to know that your partner deserves your openness, the same truthfulness that they will willingly give to you without hesitation. White lies may save you from the present, but they will surely haunt you in the future until they become strong enough to actually put a dent in your relationship. 2. You feel like you can't be yourself around your partner. For a relationship to last long term, it's so important to feel like you can always be genuine, authentic, and real self around your partner. If you just started dating, it might take a bit for you to open up, and that's okay. But if you find yourself walking on eggshells lest you slip up and reveal part of yourself you don't want to share with your partner, that's unsustainable in the long run. If you can't be your full self in the beginning of a relationship, it can be a sign that you feel like there is a part of you that isn't appropriate for the relationship. Johnson says, when we leave out any authentic part of ourself, whether it be angry part, depressed part, kinky part, then we are setting up the relationship to stay on the surface, which will not support long-term potential. 3. Your partner doesn't communicate with you. Every couple has a different understanding of how much they communicate and when. However, if just at the start of a relationship, you feel like your partner doesn't prioritize you and communicates less frequently than you would like, it is a red signal. Though it is important to be patient, one should not overdo it and end up wasting time. We all know that communication is a key pillar in any relationship. If your partner seems absent or like they're not listening to you while you're speaking or doesn't respond to your texts or messages, this is a sign that they are disconnected or distracted, says Dr. Bayer. Step 1. Have a conversation to see if your different communication styles can be worked through with a little patience and understanding. 4. You try to ignore each other during bad times. You're a great partner when days are happy and times are great. But when it comes to the trying times and rainy days, you become too afraid to face them head-on. You hide from your responsibilities in the relationship and just leave your partner to face them on their own, alone, abandoned and almost failing. You only emerge once the dust has settled and the storm has passed. If you think the scenario above is familiar to you, then there are things that you really should think about if you want your relationship to last. 5. You both are not getting what you want. Even in a great relationship, you're not always going to get your way. But when it comes to the big stuff, you should be getting what you want out of your partner. For example, if your emotional needs are never getting met, that's a problem. If you want to get married eventually, but you're dating someone who doesn't share the same desire, that's an issue. If you want kids and they don't, you may not be compatible. You have to consider your greatest needs and wants and really think about whether this person can fulfill that for you. If your partner refuses to compromise or even try to understand your point of view, then things aren't working, and they probably never will. 7. There's no trust on one side or both. You've probably heard this before, but trust is truly essential when it comes to a relationship. If you feel like you can't trust your partner or they feel like they can't trust you, things are never going to work out. Of course, a certain amount of jealousy and uncertainty is normal in the beginning of a relationship, but once things become more established and you've been together for a while, that trust should be there. If you're constantly wondering what they're doing when you're not around or they're always questioning you about things, then you have to wonder what you're doing together. 8. Extreme emotional reactions. If someone displays unmanageable emotions and easily flies off the handle, this is a serious red flag. Responding with uncontrollable rage or the silent treatment could point to abusive behavior in the future. On the other hand, a lack of empathy may mean they're void of emotion and care. In other words, you want someone whose emotions are in control and appropriate for the situation. Emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive and manage emotions. People with a low level of emotional intelligence are unable to pick up on your feelings or empathize with you. This often results in unnecessary conflicts or forms of manipulation. 9. They talk too much about their exes and describe them as crazy. Some relationships end so badly that we're still sour about an X years down the line. But if your new partner spews vitriol at any and all of their crazy former lovers every chance they get, it's a good clue that they are the problem. When your new partner can't identify some way that they caused some of their past breakups, that is reason to use extreme caution. The odds are good that they're going to lack that same kind of insight now with you. Dr. Sinoriki says, in other words, if you end up dating them, you'll likely one day join the ranks of those crazy exes too. Knowing how to get over your breakup is helpful before moving forward in a new relationship. 10. Your partner constantly disrespect you. How does your partner treat you? Does he put you down? Does he make major decisions without consulting you? Does he embarrass you in front of others? Does he look at other women, men while in your presence? Maybe he dismisses what you say as stupid or insignificant or puts down your work. If you have a partner who doesn't prioritize you and refuses to spend time with your family, it's a show of disrespect. No relationship is perfect, but don't allow yourself to be mistreated, taken for granted, or diminished in any way. Physical, emotional, and mental abuse are undeniable red flags in any relationship. Physical abuse is easier to pick up, but emotional and mental abuse can be just as damaging in the long run. And just like physical abuse, mental and emotional abuse can cause PTSD. Nobody ever has the right to use you as a scapegoat for their own problems. Those should be dealt with constructively and fairly. Abuse is never an acceptable response to a problem. Now what to do? How to deal with red flag in a relationship. It doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship or a new relationship with a colleague. Knowing how to identify red flags is important. Toxic relationships can be a vacuum of energy and happiness, but there are ways for us to learn defenses against these unhealthy dynamics. Relationships can only thrive when everyone involved is being met with the same love and kindness that they are giving out. From the office to the playground, navigating healthy social dynamics is a fundamental part of the human experience. If you need help improving your self-awareness and building stronger, more satisfying relationships with others, contact BetterUp. We'd love to help you build a foundation for healthy relationships and personal growth. Finding and creating healthy relationships is hard work, and many people do not have the energy or patience for this type of effort. It is a normal human desire to want to be in relationships which are mutually respectful. However, when we are not in these types of relationships, we tend to either blame ourselves for the problems and make efforts to change, or we try and change the other person rather than simply acknowledging the relationship is dysfunctional and toxic. 1. Be rational, not emotional. Rather than wasting a lot of mental and emotional energy worrying about whether someone likes or approves of you, take a moment to analyze if what you are feeling inside, all the butterflies, adrenaline, and excitement, is simply chemical. You can feel chemistry with people who are not good for you, and you most often do. If you get lost in feelings of lust, you could easily end up in a toxic relationship. You have to ask yourself if the person you are interested in has most, if not all of the qualities you are looking for in a relationship. 2. Be comfortable being alone. The most common reason people stay in dysfunctional relationships is the fear of being alone. Initially, it can be very hard and painful to be alone because we are naturally built to be in love and bonded with another. Keep in mind that before you can have a successful and fulfilling relationship with another, it is vital you develop a solid relationship with yourself. If you are uncomfortable being alone, then it will be an important task for you to come to a place where you truly enjoy your own company. Learning to be alone is a process, but it is much better than being in an unhealthy relationship filled with chaos and drama. 3. Be what you look for. You must be the list of what you are looking for in others. To choose and find healthy relationships, you must be a person who is trustworthy. You must keep your promises and have integrity in word, deed, and action. You must be protective and defend yourself if you hear gossip about yourself, and do whatever you can to stand up to non-truths, as you would do no less for others. Have a sense of confidentiality about you. Keep the secrets of those you love and never gossip about them. Hold a non-competitive stance, never striving to be better or outdo those closest to you. Operate with a sense of mutuality in conversations where you are willing to listen as much as you are willing to share. Be available. Make time for people. So these were 10 red flags in a relationship. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe.